Yeah, we're going with the hood. I was debating whether I should rock the hood, not rock the hood. We're rocking the hood. All right, what's up, fellas? Once again, I just got out the gymnasium. Ugh. As you see today, I decided to pit myself out a little bit, wear a flannel, look a little more beautiful for this presentation. Nonetheless, we're here with the June installation, if that's even a word, of the films I watched in June. We're gonna rank them, we're gonna yap about it, we're gonna talk about it. So let's get into it. So I got a notebook. Starting off on June 1st, we watched Godzilla Minus One. Godzilla Minus One took me by surprise. Now, a little like pre-origin story about this. Godzilla Minus One, for me, it kind of felt like Herobrine in Minecraft. Now, what I mean by this is that it felt like it was something, it felt like a myth. It felt like something that didn't exist. And I only say this because I heard of Godzilla Minus One earlier in the year, like around April, when I first started my Letterboxd. And I saw it like pop up on the feed. But at the time, if I am correct, which I'm 99% sure I am correct, the film was only available to watch in Japan. It was like strictly there. You could watch it with like a VPN and all this other Mickey Mouse stuff, but I'm not about to be doing all that, you know what I mean? I live in California. So I was like, maybe one day we'll be able to see it. And sure enough, June 1st, these motherfuckers Netflix dropped their worldwide Godzilla Minus One. I was like, I gotta check it out, because all I hear is good things about it. I hear this is like the greatest fucking movie ever. You know what I mean? So I was like, we gotta check it out. June 1st, we started off with a fucking bang, alright? Godzilla Minus One, hands down the best Godzilla movie of all fucking time. Now keep in mind, I've never seen a Godzilla movie in my life. Ever. But this one, it took me by surprise, man. Of course, I watched it in Japanese, you know what I mean? The thing with me is that I feel like with foreign movies, you have to watch it in the original language, the language it was made in, you know what I mean? So if it's Japanese, I feel like you gotta watch it Japanese. If it's Korean, in Korean, you got the point, you know what I mean? If, you know, just put subtitles, you know, read. But yeah, Godzilla Minus One, great fucking film, bro. The way I describe it to people is it's like a war film. It's like a war movie, but with Godzilla in it. You know what I mean? Like, it is a Godzilla movie, but like, I don't feel like, I just feel like it's a great war film with Godzilla in it. You know, if that makes sense to you, I hope it does. That's the best way I could describe it. I cried like 4 fucking times, dude. Like, bawling my eyes out. I was bawling my eyes out. The visuals were great. The story was great. It's kind of this like Survivor's Guild type of story. You know what I mean? You know, I love that it takes place like during World War II, around that time. You know what I mean? It just like, it really works, you know? There's just so much I loved about this film. So many scenes I loved. I think the part that I loved the most was when he ejected, when he, you know, crashed that plane into Godzilla. Fuck that bitch. He ejected. And then you get like the guy that was fixing the plane up for him, the mechanic guy. How he was like, he had beef with him before all this. He had beef with him. And even after all that, he was like, live. You know, and oh man, that shit made me cry. And it made me cry because he was crying. He was so happy that he chose to live. And I love the fact that he chose to live. I was like, bro, this fool's about to kill himself. But he chose to live after all that. He chose life. And it's just so beautiful. It's a beautiful fucking story. And fuck that bitch Godzilla, bro. The whole film, when I was watching it, I'm like, Godzilla's a fucking asshole, bro. That dude's a bitch. But yeah, nonetheless, Godzilla Minus One, I give it 4.5 stars just because, I don't know, in a way, I feel like a part of me deep inside of me didn't really like the ending. In a way, I kind of wish his girl died permanently. I did cry. I bawled my eyes out in this scene where she was like, is your war over? And he was like, yes. And he was just weeping on her lap. I was like, ah! It's just so beautiful. But in a way, I feel like, I don't know, I feel like it takes away a little bit from him choosing to live. You know, and then she like ends up surviving. But it was a great finish though. I still liked it. Godzilla Minus One, we gave that bitch 4.5 stars, and we gave it a heart. Godzilla, honestly, these are my rankings, and I'm gonna put Godzilla in A. It is arguably S tier. If when I'm editing this and I feel like putting it in S tier, I'll put it there. But as of right now, July 1st, we're putting it in A tier. All right, June 9th. I rewatched Spider-Man 2. Now, you're gonna see this is a trend this month. I watched a lot of Spider-Man movies. It was just a Spider-Man ass month for me. June, I was born June 5th. It was just a, you guys need to understand this, man. This man, Spider-Man, that's my guy. That's my guy, okay? Look at my channel. I am never beating the Spider-Man allegations. Look at this fucking channel. Spider-Man this, Spider-Man that, reacting to Spider-Man, playing Spider-Man. I'm never beating these allegations. Nonetheless, Spider-Man 2, I started watching it in May, like May 30th, but like I couldn't finish it. I finished watching it June 9th, and I cried like a million times. Spider-Man 2, in my opinion, is the greatest Spider-Man film of all time. Of all time. Spider-Verse is great. Spider-Man 1 is great. But Spider-Man 2 is just... it's cinema. It's absolute cinema. I love everything about it. It still holds up to this day. 20 years later, 21 years later. It's 23, whatever it is, it holds up. It holds up. The shots, the acting, the story, everything about Spider-Man 2 holds up to this day. And it's not just one of the greatest superhero films, it's the greatest Spider-Man film ever made. Ever, okay? I love Spider-Man 2. I gave it 5 stars. You know I had to. And of course, I gave it a heart. Spider-Man 2, we're putting that bitch in S tier. Alright, June 10th, we watched Spaceman. Spaceman was a film that I was intrigued by when I watched this clip on Twitter earlier in the year. It was this little clip with the spider that's in the film, and he was talking to Adam Sandler's character. I forgot his name. I don't even think I know how to say his name. But yeah, it intrigued me, and then I saw Paul Dano was the voice of the spider, and I was like, oh, this might be saucy. It seemed really saucy. I was really intrigued by it. We finally watched it, and I didn't really like it. I don't know. I feel like in order to really... I just feel like for this movie to really like resonate with you, the emotional value of it, all the emotional stuff going on, all of that, it really has to connect with you. And I just wasn't feeling it. You know what I mean?
I'm not feeling it.
Me, I'm a space whore. I love space. I love the universe. I'm a fan of all that cosmic stuff, you know? So that's also why I was intrigued by it. And it's Adam Sandler, you know? When he gets real, that boy gets real. Click, Uncut Gems, etc. You know, when that boy wants to act and put on a masterclass performance, he can and he will. So you know, I was really excited for this, but unfortunately it just didn't land with me. It It does have a good score though, I will say that. I really like the score for this film. It gave me kind of like it kind of gave me like Sleepy Tune vibes, you know what I mean? Like music you put on before you go to sleep, you know, that kind of stuff. Some of the visuals were cool, you know what I mean? I still like the idea of the spider. He was cool and all, but like I just wasn't feeling it, you know? I just wasn't feeling it. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I gotta get married, get divorced for me to really feel this movie, but nonetheless, I gave it 2.5 stars. You know, it was, you know, it's alright. You know, it's a little wobbly, you know, and we'll put it in C tier. C tier. June 13th, we watched Pearl. Oh man, I was so excited to watch Pearl. You guys have no idea how excited I was to watch Pearl. I watched X last month in May. Preparation for Maxine, we watched Pearl this month. And boy, I was blown out the motherfucking water, bro. Pearl really surprised me. I didn't expect this. I didn't expect this. I don't know what I expected, but it wasn't this. Like right off the bat, when the movie begins, right off the bat, you know, you get like the farm. You're looking at the farm, and it's all bright and colorful and vibrant, you know, which is a drastic comparison, drastically different from X. You know, in X, the farm, it's all shitty, it's all gray, it's all depressed, everything's all, you know, worn down. But in Pro, everything's live, vivid, you know, beautiful. And then, you know, it kind of gives me like old school movie vibes, you know, like kind of the Wizard of Oz kind of vibes, the way the soundtrack is, and even the fonts they use, you know, director Ty West and all that. It really gives you like old school vibes, and I really like that. I saw this good review on Letterboxd that was like, what's really good about Pearl is that it's kind of like a character study, you know. You really go in depth with this character Pearl that you met in the previous film. But there's just so many things I liked about Pearl: the shots, the direction, the acting, all the fucking references to the previous movie. My brother says I'm tripping about this, but I don't think I am tripping about this. When Pearl's auditioning to be, you know, like a dancer or whatever, on the floor they quickly show that there's an X on the floor. And my brother's like, oh, well, that's because you're supposed to stand there. And I'm like, yeah, but guess what, buddy? The previous movie's called X, all right? And, you know, they're always talking about this X factor. It can't be no coincidence. So, you know, I like that so much. And even the judge at some point, they were like, yeah, we're looking for someone with an X factor. Oh, I like so much about it. Also, like the prosthetic work and all that, because their mom got fucking burnt to a crisp. You know, that shit was dope. Like, now that I'm older and everything, I'm not that old, I'm 23. But like, it's like now that I'm older, there's like so much more I appreciate when I watch films, you know? I appreciate like so many things now. I also had this like far-fetched idea that the pig that was donated to Pearl's family that her mom rejected, I also feel like it's kind of like a little bit like of a symbolism for Pearl's like mental state, or just like her well-being, you know how she is. I mean, obviously it makes sense that it's gonna rot eventually, but it also goes with Pearl. You know, she progressively gets worse throughout the film, and they also show the pig getting progressively worse throughout the film. I don't know, I feel like there's some symbolism there. Perhaps I'm tripping, but you see what you want to see, you know what I mean? Also, like, one thing I really liked about Pearl is that like it takes place during the pandemic back in the 1920s or whatever, and I just like that because, you know, we went through a pandemic very recently, and just kind of seeing that, you know, people with their mask on being a little germophobic and shit, I like that, you know, it resonated with me. I felt it. Nonetheless, Pearl, masterclass acting. Mia Goth, masterclass. That monologue, when I was watching that shit, I was like, oh, cinema, brother, cinema. That was a great, and then like the ending where she's just smiling for like 2 minutes, that shit was crazy, bro. I'm so appreciative of that was so good. Pearl, enough yapping about Pearl. Pearl was a 5-star fucking meal, brother. 5 fucking stars. I gave it a heart. I have no complaints. I loved it. I absolutely loved it, and I think it's safe to say Pearl was my favorite film of the month. With that being said, Pearl's going up in S tier. She's a fucking star. Alright, June 19th, we watched Spider-Man 1. The original Spider-Man, 2002, Sam Raimi. Man, I can't say enough things about this movie. It's just like, I was just telling my sister this today. This movie to me, it feels like home. It feels like a hug. Whenever I watch it, I feel like a kid again. You know, for the longest time, I never really understood what people meant when they said, you know, I feel like a kid watching this, but I know what they mean now. When I watch Spider-Man 1, I feel like a kid again. I feel like I'm safe. I feel like I'm home. I feel like I got this hug, you know, embracing me. I love it. I love it. You know, these Spider-Man movies, they practically raised me, bro. This character you see right now, it's all ripped off from Spider-Man, bro. Spider-Man 1 is, in my opinion, once again, the greatest origin comic book movie of all time. Greatest origin story. It's just so good. It's so good. And one thing that I really noted this time around is how good the soundtrack for Spider-Man 1 is. I only realized this because at the gym, I was listening to the Spider-Man 1 soundtrack. I don't know, it was just kind of pumping me up. It was the only thing that was working, you know, getting me going. And when I was listening to the soundtrack, I could literally watch every fucking scene, like, in my head, you know? I mean, to be fair, I've seen this movie like a million times. I know it off the top of my head. But like, just hearing the soundtrack is so fucking good, and it adds so much to the movie. Best Spider-Man origin story. It's so fucking good, dude. It's so good. It still holds up to this day too, by the way. The CGI still holds up to this day. Everything holds up. It's so great. Yeah, Spider-Man 1, you already know. 5 fucking stars. 5 fucking stars, brother. And a heart. I love it. June 20th. Are you surprised? We watched The Amazing Spider-Man 1. Now, The Amazing Spider-Man movies, I've never hated them. I've always been a fan of them. But they've never really been my favorite, per se. You know, I've always been a Raimi boy. And to be fair, I grew up with Raimi. You know what I mean? I just told you, bro. I just based my whole character off him, you know? But yeah, The Amazing Spider-Man 1 and 2, because I will talk about 2, because spoilers, I did watch it. I haven't actually fully watched those since I was in middle school, which was approximately 10 years ago. Since then, I just kind of watch clips on YouTube, or I just see clips, but I've never actually sat down and watched the whole movie since middle school. But The Amazing Spider-Man 1, yeah, it was cool. It's just like, I don't know, like, the thing about The Amazing Spider-Man 1, I feel like sometimes it tries being a little too different, you know? And obviously it makes sense, you know, it wants to separate itself from the Raimi ones. Doesn't want to be too similar, you know, it's fresh off the bat. It's the first reboot since the Raimi one, so it makes sense in a way. But I do feel like at times they're just trying too hard to be different. I mean, the spider bit him on the fucking neck. When Uncle Ben dies, you know, he's like, that's not my policy. It's just, I don't know. It seems like they're just trying to be a little too different at times. And it feels a little forced sometimes. But in a way, I do feel like it works out, because I feel like if this was the comics, I feel like The Amazing Spider-Man is what the Ultimate comics are to the 616 comics. Raimi Spider-Man feels really classic, you know, really like OG Spider-Man 616 vibes, you know what I mean? It gives off that kind of like golden age type of vibe, and then the Amazing Spider-Man gives off this like ultimate, more modern kind of, you know, take. And so I feel like it kind of works out in that sense. One thing I never noticed before, I really took note of it this time, is that the casting is so fucking good for the Amazing Spider-Man movies. Flash, perfect. That's a perfect Flash. Not that the Raimi one sucks, but like this one, it's really good. You know, he's like a dick to Peter, but then he kind of like, they become homies a little bit. Gwen Stacy, don't get me started on Gwen Stacy. This is when my Emma Stone fascination started. Shout out Emma fucking Stone, man. Andrew Garfield, obviously. Uncle Ben, I don't know his casting. Aunt May, man, let me tell you about this Aunt May. Sally Field's Aunt May. This may be your freezing cold take, but I think she's my favorite Aunt May. I don't know, just something about her really just gives me Aunt May. But yeah, the Amazing Spider-Man 1, I gave it 3.5 stars. Just because it's still kind of like, it's a little sometimes, but overall, it's still Spider-Man, and I still love Spider-Man. So 3.5 stars, gave it a heart. Putting it in B tier. June 21st, we watch Priscilla. Now, you might notice this trend in future installments, in this installment. I have this bad habit. Priscilla is a film that I wanted to watch in theaters. That's gonna be a common trend. You will see, you will find out. There's gonna be so many movies I'm gonna watch where I'm gonna be like, I wanted to watch it in theaters, but I didn't. Well, I'm changing that now, I promise. I'm trying my best now. But Priscilla was a film I wanted to watch in theaters. It really intrigued me. It seemed really good. I finally decided to watch it. I watched this reel that really kind of made me feel like watching it, where it's full of Elvis, bro. Elvis is talking to Priscilla, right? It's like the beginning of the movie. And he was like, so what are you in 11th grade, 12th grade? And then she was like, 9th. And then he was like, 9th. And then she says something, and he's like, huh, little girl's got some spunk. What? This fool Elvis is a sicko. I have seen the scene before where she finds this note from Scooby or something in his jacket, and then he's like, you know what? You're going back to your parents. You're going home. You're being crazy. That's the only scene I've seen. But after watching that, you know, little girl's got some spunk scene, I was like, okay, I'll watch Priscilla. Finally watched it. I liked it. You know, it was it's directed by Sofia Coppola. She directed one of my favorite movies of all time, which I literally watched this year, Lost in Translation. And it's kind of cool. I'm noticing these things where, like, if you watch enough movies from a certain director, you can kind of see their styles in other movies they make. And I got that in Priscilla. I could tell this was made by Sofia Coppola. I'm like, oh, this has her all over it. She totally made this, which she directed it. But Priscilla was really good. You know, I've never really been too familiar with like the Elvis Priscilla story. I'm not really a fan of Elvis, and I refuse to watch that Elvis propaganda movie with Austin Butler. But speaking of Austin Butler, I'm sorry, brother. I think Jacob's performance as Elvis is, I think it's better. I'm sorry. I mean, he still looks like Jacob, but like, I feel like he gives more Elvis. I don't know. But yeah, Priscilla was cool. It has a lot of beautiful shots. It's a beautiful movie. Beautiful cinematography. I have trouble saying that word. Beautiful song selection. It's a very interesting story. It's based off Priscilla's own book. And then, it's even crazy too, because at some point it says produced by Priscilla Presley. I was like, oh! I don't know. I thought that was cool. I feel like if maybe you're a boss girl, you might like this film more. I am not a boss girl. Maybe that's why I gave it 3.5 stars. But I don't know. Apparently, if you're like a girl, you might relate to it more. You might like it more. I don't know. But I did like it though. 3.5 stars. No heart this time. Priscilla, we'll put it in B tier. June 23rd. The Amazing Spider-Man 2. I was surprised. This movie was way better than I remembered it. Like I told you, I haven't watched this since I was in middle school. I've constantly seen clips. I constantly watch them web swinging. The best web swinging of all time. But man, this shit was way better than I remembered it. I have maybe like 3 complaints about The Amazing Spider-Man 2. One, I feel like the beginning is a little weird, like when he's talking to Rhino and there's all this like destruction going on. But he does that shit in the cartoons too. Spider-Man does that shit in the cartoons. So like, you know, I'll let it slide. 2, the Rhino fight at the end, I don't like that. I think the movie should have ended after the Sinister Six guy meets up with Harry Osborn. He's like, yeah, we've got some people, you know, ready to meet up. I think it should have ended there, like on a depressing note. And 3, I hate that little kid at the end. Fuck that kid, that little goober ass kid. He's like, yeah, I'll stop him. No, you ain't stopping shit. I don't know, that kid just kind of annoys me, and I hate that scene. I hate the ending. It was completely unnecessary. Like, just ended off depressing, you know. I don't know. But the Amazing Spider-Man 2 blew me out the water. The story's not even bad. The story's good, and this it just feels so Spider-Man to me. It feels so Spider-Man. The comedy in this movie is really good. I don't remember it being this humorous before. You know, like the scene where he's like trying to do his laundry. Jamie Foxx being like, "You're not Spider-Man. He's a Leo. You're a Sagittarius." I was like, what the fuck? Yeah, it's just a lot funnier than I remember it being. And Spider-Man, just Spider-Man in this movie, he's beautiful. He's perfect. Like the Homelander meme?
It was perfect. Perfect. Everything, down to the last minute details.
It's perfect. It's perfect. But yeah, Amazing Spider-Man 2, absolute cinema, perfect. Gwen Stacy, amazing. Peter, amazing. Aunt May, amazing. Dane DeHaan, Harry Osborn, I believe that's his name, amazing. Jamie Foxx Electro in this movie, amazing. But yeah, with that being said, we gave this bitch 4 stars because we didn't get a third one, and because I fucking hate that ending. I hate that ending so much. But I cried my eyes out though. That Gwen Stacy motivational speech. But yeah, 4 stars, brother, and a heart. And we'll put it in A tier. We'll put it in A tier. June 26th, I rewatched La La Land. So on this particular day, I was kind of in my feelings, and I just wanted to watch a kind of a rom-com. And I don't know, I just felt like watching La La Land. But like the thing is, I feel like I rewatched it too soon. I literally watched it for the first time ever in December of last year, 2023. And dude, it hit me like a fucking truck. I just watched La La Land. It's crazy. It hit me so hard. And keep in mind, I don't like musicals. I've never been a fan of musicals, but like I'll let it slide for this one, bro. This was so fucking good. It's just like, it's so good. It's just so good, you know, like the story, the way everything unfolds, you know, fall, summer, the synchronicities. Oh man, you know, also because in December I was going through this big thing with synchronicities, and like I was kind of talking to someone at the time, and so I related a lot to this movie in that kind of way. But yeah, on this particular rewatch though of La La Land, it didn't hit me the same. I got a little teary-eyed, but like it didn't really hit me the same as it did in December. But to be fair, I'm in a completely different situation. It's literally like 6 months later. You know, complete flip, complete opposite, December to June. But it's still a great movie. I still liked it. I still enjoyed the watch. I gave it, of course, 5 stars. La La Land's 5 stars. And I gave it a heart. And with that being said, La La Land is an S tier movie. So it's going up there. I've been yapping for some time. June 27th, we watched The Witch. Now, The Witch, I watched The Witch because first of all, it was on my list. Second of all, I'm hyped for this Nosferatu movie coming out in December by Robert Eggers. So I was like, you know what? I'm trying to see more of his work. And before I watched The Witch, I realized he made The Lighthouse. I watched The Lighthouse like in 2020, I watched it. But the thing is, I don't think I was ready for it then, you know. Back then I was still a little baby. I was still a little, you know, green. I don't know, I feel like I'm just more appreciative and more understanding of things now than I was back then. So like back then I didn't like The Lighthouse. I didn't really like it. But watching The Witch, it was crazy. This is his fucking debut as a director. The Witch. I was like, wow. When I found that out, I was like, wow, what a way to fucking debut, you know, what a way to come out, you know? And it's cool. Like once again, what I said with Sofia Coppola, you could tell Robert Eggers directed this. He definitely has a style that, you know, I saw in The Lighthouse. And I just think it's so cool when you notice things like that. But yeah, The Witch, it was surprisingly good. It's a horror movie, but like for me, it didn't feel like it was really scary. More just kind of like creepy / you know, disturbing, suspenseful, a little thrillery, you know. It wasn't necessarily scary, but those are the best kind of horror films, you know. But yeah, The Witch was so good. The color grading was so good. It was so fucking good. The cinematography was amazing. The acting was a masterclass performance. The little kid, the child actors, they were great. Anya Taylor-Joy, amazing. The parents, amazing. Black Phillip, amazing. I heard he was an asshole on set though. What I really like about The Witch is just kind of how it came to be. Because at the end of the movie, it says that this film was inspired by real life accounts and folktales. And that just means everything to me. That is just so fucking cool. And then it also says at the end that like dialogue in the movie is like taken directly from real life documents and shit like that. And I'm like, I don't know, cinema. But I just think it's so cool. Like looking back at that, because this movie takes place in the 1600s, and I just like, I think it's so cool to like, well, it's not cool, but like a little fascinating, a little intriguing how like back then, like things you didn't understand could, like how they could quickly be turned into these like distorted, disoriented folktales that like, you know, carry on and keep getting told, you know what I mean? I just think that's so cool. In retrospect, probably wasn't cool dealing with it back then, you know what I mean, being called a witch and shit, but you know what I mean. I also love how like this movie is up for many interpretations. I personally think that in this particular movie there was a witch and she was fucking with him. The ending though, I don't really like the ending though. That's just the one thing I don't really like about it, is the ending. It gives me kind of Hereditary vibes, but to be fair, this movie came out first in Hereditary, so like I can't really say that. But I watched Hereditary first, so that's what it reminds me of. I just don't really like the ending, you know. She like, you know, she walks off naked to this like cult thing and then she floats. I don't know, I wasn't really feeling it. But the ending did spook me out though, when that voice, the devil's voice or whatever, like pulled up out of nowhere. That shit scared the fuck out of me. But yeah, The Witch, great watch, very intriguing. I need to check out more of Robert Eggers' work, and I am very excited for Nosferatu. With that being said, we gave it 4 stars. It was 3.5 stars or 4 stars, but it felt closer to 4 stars with me, so I gave it 4 stars. No heart this time, but it was a great movie, and we're putting it in fucking A tier, brother. All right, June 30th, to top it off, to end off my month, my birth month, Gemini month, I watched Spider-Man No Way Home. Now, you guys don't know this, but I know this, and a lot of people that know me know this. I fucking hated No Way Home. I hated that movie with every fiber in my little being. I've only seen it once, and that was when it came out in theaters. You know, when I watched it in theaters. I didn't like it. I tried convincing myself to like it because everybody liked it. Everybody was like, oh, this is the greatest movie of all time. Andrew's back, Toby's back. I tried convincing myself to like it. I tried, but I couldn't. In my heart, I knew this movie was hot garbanzo beans. I've only had one attempt at a rewatch since that theatrical release, but I couldn't finish it. I watched like maybe 30 minutes and I was like, all right, fuck this movie. But yesterday, June 30th, I was in the mood. I'm like, you know what, let's do this. I tried watching Spider-Man Homecoming. I was gonna try to watch Tom Holland's movies too, but like, I just can't watch them. I just can't watch them. It's like too Mickey Mousey, dude. I don't know. These Tom Holland Spider-Man MCU films, they have not aged well for me at all. Because when they came out, I was a fanboy. But to be fair, I was younger. I was 16, you know what I mean? More green. You know, at times I was even like, this was the best Spider-Man, you know? I don't know what the fuck I was thinking, to be honest with you. Nonetheless, I was like, I watched No Way Home because I know Toby and Andrew's in it, and I watched all their movies this month, so you know. And I feel like I'll give No Way Home another shot. I'll give it another shot. So I watched it, and it's the biggest piece of dog shit that I've ever fucking seen. I hate this movie. I hate it. I hate it. I'm a firm believer that this should have never been made. It should have never been made. You know, Tom Holland's third movie, in my opinion, shouldn't have been this big multiversal Spider-Verse bullshit. It should have just been some Tom Holland, real life, real serious consequences, serious movie. But it wasn't that. I mean, I guess it gets serious at some points, but like, it wasn't doing it for me, brother. There's just so much I hate about it. And I got it on the back. I got the notes back here. Just notes of what I fucking hate about No Way Home. Every time something happened in that movie that I fucking hated, I put it in my little notes app. I hate so much about that movie, dude. I hate the color grading. I hate the cinematography. I hate the shots. I hate the story. I hate the acting. I hate the jokes. I hate the... So first of all, my biggest complaint about it, well, maybe not my biggest, but one of the biggest, is like, why are Peter's friends so involved in this? Ned and MJ in this movie annoy the fuck out of me. They annoy me so much in this movie, especially Ned. That fool, I think he's always kind of annoyed me, but he annoyed me so much in this movie, man. I'm like, fuck off, Ned, fuck off. And MJ, Zendaya, MJ, I'm just really not feeling it in this movie. I was feeling it in Far From Home. I was really feeling it there. But in this one, I'm just not feeling it. I'm just not feeling it. And it's also the fact that she's Michelle Jones, technically Michelle Jones Watson, but she's MJ, but she's not Mary Jane. And it's like, what's it gonna be? Okay, and it's like, why y'all doing this extra bullshit for? Just make her Mary Jane, you know? Why y'all doing this shit for? You know what I mean? It's so unnecessary. In general, for a lot of this movie, I just think the CGI is fucking dog shit. The CGI in this movie fucking sucks so much. The worst CGI in any Spider-Man movie. They fixed it a little bit in Far From Home. It looked good in Far From Home. Homecoming is No Way Home, it's fucking dog shit. It's so fucking bad. You know, and the Electro scene, when he first meets Electro, Sandman, CGI is so bad in that scene. Spider-Man suit looks so fucking bad in that scene. I'm like, it looks like a fucking video game, and not in a good way. And also, Sandman stinks in this movie. He's just CGI. I guess, you know, I do have to give a little bit of, you know, like a little bit of a break, because I know it was made during COVID and there was, you know, it was tough. But still, Sandman's just CGI this whole movie, and he doesn't look good. Same with the Lizard. The Lizard looks worse in this movie. You know, in The Amazing Spider-Man 1, he looks okay. I mean, he looks alright, but in this movie, he looks dog shit. He looks so bad. I hate the fact that Oscorp doesn't exist. Like, why would you do that, Marvel? Like, Oscorp is so important to Spider-Man lore, you know what I mean? And you're just gonna say it doesn't exist. Houseway. I know a lot of this probably has to do with like Sony contract bullshit, but like, it's not working for me, brother. Aunt May. I hate Aunt May. This is the worst Aunt May. I'm sorry. This is no disrespect to the actress, Marissa Tomei, I believe. I got no beef with you, but I got beef with Aunt May, brother. Aunt May in this series is just I don't like her. I don't like her. Like, she is not giving Aunt May to me, brother. She is not giving Aunt May. And especially in this movie. I hate her in this movie. All right, she's on some bullshit, bro. She says, is it better for them or for you? And it's like, dude, Doctor Strange literally said, what did he say? He said they gotta go back. It's their fate. Like, that's just how I feel about it. You know what I mean? What's up with this bullshit, you know? Like what if we can change their fate? It just doesn't make sense to me. It doesn't make sense to me, you know? Like, it's so stupid to me. Tom Peter's a dumbass. He brought him here because he couldn't shut the fuck up while Doctor Strange was casting a spell. And here he is talking about, like, what if we can change their fate? It's like, dude, like, it is what it is. That's just how it is, you know? I really hate that plot point. I hate it so much. Like, we gotta fix him. It's like, and then it's like, he doesn't want his friends around, you know, when he's going to the condo and shit. But he's cool with having Aunt May around. Huh? I will give him this, though. I do think the Green Goblin versus Spider-Man condo scene is probably the best scene in the movie. But yeah, in the past, I had a complaint. I didn't really understand why Willem Dafoe Green Goblin was targeting Tom Spider-Man so badly. I didn't really understand it. But on this rewatch, I do understand it now. He's targeting him because he's a little bitch. I get it now. And then, you know, Aunt May dies. I'm sorry, but it does absolutely nothing for me. I literally don't give a fuck that she died. I am not moved at all. I am not moved at all. And then she gives off, Peter, with great power, there must come. I'm like, no. It's like, is Peter seriously barely hearing this for the first time right now? And it just felt kind of forced that she said it. It felt so forced to me. It didn't feel like natural. I don't know. It just felt forced. The only reason I might have been like 1% emotional is just because of Tom's performance while she was dying. That was a good performance, but like, no. I hate how they reuse shots. You know, they reuse shots from Spider-Man 3 with Sandman. I caught that in the cinemas when I watched it in theaters. I caught that they reuse the Lizard transforming back to Dr. Connors. I caught that in the theaters too. I hate that Andrew Spider-Man took his mask off with Electro. Why the fuck would he do that? Why would he take his mask off? Especially if they get returned back to the same universe. I don't know how that shit works. I feel like by curing them or whatever, like, you're just fucking shit up more, you know what I mean? Because that's not how it's supposed to be. This is my last note. The color grading sucks. The color grading fucking sucks. Specifically, like, the funeral scene when Peter and Happy are at Aunt May's, like, gravestone. That scene looks so fucking bad, dude. I hate this movie. I hate it. I wish it was never made, bro. How did Peter beat Doctor Strange, dude? I don't get that. He beat him with fucking math. Only thing I like about it is the ending. That's an elite Spider-Man ending. He decides to, you know, leave he decides to leave Michelle Jones out of his life, and Ned, he's all lonely in his apartment, makes a new Spidey suit, and then he has the weakest final swing of all time. But that's a good Spider-Man ending right there. I'll give him that. And also the score that plays during that, Peter Parker picked up a precariously profession or something like that. I love that soundtrack. It's in my library, actually. Yeah, No Way Home, I fucking hate it. They will never make me like you. Never. In fact, I hate it so much. I hate when I see highly rated reviews about it on Letterboxd, seeing all these 5-star reviews, all these 4-star reviews. I hate it. With that being said, John Watts is the worst Spider-Man director. No Way Home fucking sucks. And I gave it 1 star. With all that yapping being said, F. Negative F. So, that was my month in cinema. That was my film rankings. That's how my June went. Hope y'all enjoyed. I feel a little weird. I've been yapping for an hour. Oh my god. I've been yapping for an hour. I feel a little weird, but it's okay. But yeah, that's what I watched in June. Hope you guys enjoyed. Let me know y'all thoughts down there below. And until next time, happy watchings.